One day, a legacy AMI was accidentally deleted. No backups, no docs, no clue what was inside it. That one mistake cost me hours of debugging, and that's when I stopped manually building images. If you are running workloads on cloud with manually created images, then it applies to you. If you have been in the cloud long enough, you have probably done this. Launch a virtual machine, SSH into it, install the dependencies manually, and click on the create image button in the console. For testing, it is fine. In production, it is a disaster waiting to happen. Because here is the problem. You can't version control it. There is no git commit for the manual configuration. This is the part most teams don't realize. Your CI/CD pipelines look automated, but the foundation itself completely manual. That image becomes single point of failure. No version control, no auditing trails, no reproducibility. And when something breaks, you don't do DevOps, you do archaeology on production. Let me give you a real world scenario which I actually see. Imagine this. You have a mission critical image built manually 3 years ago. Now security comes in and says, we need to migrate this to a new base OS. It doesn't matter if it's Amazon Linux, Ubuntu or any other base OS. But there is no documentation. You have to analyze a running server just to figure out what is installed. That is not painful. That is not feasible in the modern DevOps workflow. And this is exactly how teams end up panicking when image gets deleted. With Packer, your entire image definition will be in code. So if you want to update any dependency version or base OS, you just have to update the code and just rebuild it again. Now that is one problem. There is another one that hits you when you start scaling. In real production systems, you don't want random images. You want golden images. The same base image across dev, staging and production. When machines are built manually, environment drift is inevitable. One virtual machine has a security patch and another doesn't. And suddenly prod behaves differently from dev. Packer fixes this completely. Every machine is an exact clone of the golden image. If you have ever inherited a machine image and been afraid to touch it, this next part is for you. Let me show you the exact approach that I use in production. I am using AWS here for the demo, but the workflow stays the same. Let's start with the golden AMI file. This is the plugins block. I am using Amazon plugin, and these are the variables I have defined here. I am using variables here just to make it reusable. These are the parameters I have defined for the Packer. You can check their documentation for more details and more customization. For build, I am using shell. You can use Ansible as well, but I prefer to use a shell script. So let me show you the variables first. Here you can see source AMI. Packer will use this AMI, and this is the type of the machine. And the AMI name, this is the shell script which has the dependencies. Let me show you the dependencies file. Here you can see currently I am going to use Docker and Nginx as dependencies for this demo purpose. You can add the commands, whatever is required for your use case, and then use it. First we have to initialize. So plugin will get loaded. Then I will validate with this command. You can see the configuration is valid. If any syntax error, it will show here only. And let me build it now. You can see this AMI found, and it is going to use this AMI. And it launched an instance as well. Let me go to the AWS console and refresh the page. You can see one EC2 machine is already created and SSH is connected. Instead of running commands manually, we move everything into shell scripts or Ansible. I prefer shell script. Packer uploads the script executes it during the build, and bake those changes into the final image. This gives you clean builds, predictable results every single time. AMI became ready, and now it's terminating the created resources. So everything is ready now. This is the AMI ID. I am using Terraform to launch a brand new instance using the image we just built. I have updated the AMI. Now let me launch an EC2 machine with our golden AMI. It is created. Yeah, the Packer demo server is up and running. Let's connect to it. You can see Docker version, Nginx version 1.24. In the shell script, I am using the specific Nginx version. So that specific version got installed, not the latest one. When you use Packer, you use specific versions wherever it is possible. So it won't install the latest version when you rebuild it again. Notice something important. There is no user data script, no bootstrap logic, because everything we already added into our golden image. Here is the mindset shift I want you to take away. The problem with the manually built images is not they don't work. It is they work until one day they don't. And when that day comes, you realize you don't actually know what is inside your own infrastructure. That is not control. That is just luck. Packer removes that luck. It turns machine images from something you are afraid to touch into something you can rebuild, version and trust. That is the difference between hoping your infrastructure works and knowing it will. And confident infrastructure is how you scale on any cloud without fear.